Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John, the firearms instructor. Go ahead and give me somebody a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, and I'm coming across loud and clear. Someone give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Or maybe do a comment or something. It'll help out tremendously. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go, John Diamond. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, welcome. We actually had our first, Kookie, what's going on? Glad you're here. Wonderful. We had our first HTS call last night. We had a great group. We had I don't know if you haven't heard, we started the Handgun Training System Academy. It's over on Skool. D. Marshall, thank you very much. It's over on Skool, Skool. In the descriptions down below, after this has been put through, there is a link for you guys who do not know about it to get signed up for our community. It's a school community. It's about working with you guys to get you the best shooters you could be. And to incentivize people to sign up, we did it for free. We did the Handgun Training System Masterclass. The Masterclass is 4 weeks working to master your handgun in 4 short weeks. Now, how this works each week is you come on, you comment, let me know where you're from, what's going on, and we're going to cover some topic tonight. This accuracy hour is all about low and left, which is a very common thing that people do. It's a very common that sign up. You won't be thank you, Cookie. Appreciate it very much. It is a good program because it's going to take you through grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and style up. The unique thing about the masterclass, we've done it many times this year, put through a bunch of students through it. And each week, you not only do you get the topic, you get the drill, you get a PowerPoint presentation of each week's target drill, why it's important, what's it do for us. On top of that, you're getting the free ebook that's there as well and giving you all the pluses that you need to become the best shooter. We put that program together for you for the purpose of giving something back to the community. I figured if I gave you enough forward that when we put something out worth purchasing, now keep in mind this handgun training system has been bought multiple times before. We sold it as cheap as $79. We sold it as high as $125, and it is a 4-week course, but I gave it away for free because I thought it'd be perfect opportunity, sort of my hook, if you don't mind, to people all over the United States. The very first class we did was coast to coast from Washington State. A good buddy of mine, David, out there in Washington State. Hey, Phil, how you doing, buddy? All the way to Boston, Massachusetts, and everywhere in between. People have signed up for it. All you really have to do is watch the school program. It's in a course. You download the targets, you take the targets to the range, you shoot your targets, you take pictures of them, you upload them back into the school program, the Skool Skool, and then I will look at your targets and give you some identification of what you're doing wrong so we can solve it, make you a better shooter. That's the kind of the things we're going to do. It's going to get us all down to the point of a drill a week. A drill a week is what we did. The handgun training system, Phil just jumped in, but Phil was one of our guys that did the handgun training system from the masterclass, and it benefited him as much as it benefited me to do it. He helped me get through June, July, August, September, October. We stopped it in November. I was putting together this program, and I wanted to not focus on that for a few weeks to try to put the course in the school system and be able to work. Highly, highly recommend you take a look at it. It's a great price. It's free. You don't got to worry about it. It doesn't cost you anything, but you do have to do the homework. You do have to spend the time doing it. If you spend time doing it, you're going to improve your accuracy. You're going to get that aha moment. And at the end of it, it's going to make a big difference. And you're going to be able to visualize what you're doing wrong. That's the biggest thing I could give a student as a firearms instructor. If I say to you, hey, listen, do this and you will shoot better. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to outshoot your brother-in-law? It just seems like a plus, if that makes sense. And then we're going to put some other stuff together. We're going to put the first part of this, the handgun training system, the masterclass is going to be free, always free. It's our hook. It gets people in. And then we're going to do some coaching calls and some other stuff to be compensated in some way or another. Nothing's ever free forever. And we don't want to base our whole program on giving it away. Obviously, we're entrepreneurs. We want to get paid. But if I give enough back to you guys, you're willing to buy into what we put out there. You have bought my ebooks. You have spent a lot of money on those. And we're very fortunate at $2.99, which we went almost 2.5 years at that price. And I've sold thousands of those books. And I thank you very much because of that. And those are about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. Now, we've sort of stabilized that into it's going to come into the course system here. There's going to be behind a paywall, obviously, helps us get compensated a little bit. But we're going to give some stuff away as well on these lives each week. We're going to come up with some way. Maybe you guys can help me come up with a way to pick a winner each week to get one of our books. I've got my new book coming out. It is about front sight focus, and we're just finalizing all the stuff with that, and that'll be coming out. In the masterclass itself, you do get the free ebook from there, which is Master Your Handgun in 4 weeks. That's a good book for you to read as well. But we have grip, we have stance, we have trigger control, and sight picture and sight alignment. I put those books together for people just like you, because the purpose of most people can read a book and do it. I'm not one of them. I got to do hands-on. But if you can read the book, go to the masterclass playlist on our YouTube channel, and on top of that, go ahead and get the course itself. All three of those things are going to make you a better shooter, if that makes sense. All right, so let's go a little bit about what we're going to do this evening. And tonight's topic is welcome to another Tuesday night accuracy hour. Tonight, we're going to cover a full low and left checkup. Basically, what we're looking at the groups through clear eyes so we can see what we're doing. Why does it always go down? Why does it always go left? These are questions that are asked to me all the time. In this episode, I'm going to give you 10 simple checks that you, hey, Kurt, how you doing, buddy? That you can look at and evaluate your target. And by the end of this lesson, you'll understand what's the gun, your grip, your trigger are telling you. Tell me one of your biggest problems you're having with low and left. Are you having a low and left situation? I have seen Mark B-Mark 1730. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you very much. Appreciate that. Tell us what you're having problems with, whether it be low and left or anything else. You can always comment down below. If there's a question or anything else like that, I will answer them as we go. Did something a little different this evening. I'm full screen on my side, but I got the actual comments on the full screen, so you guys get to be able to see them as well. So The low left checklist comes into 10 things that diagnose in 10 seconds what you're doing wrong when you look at your triggers. If you're looking at yes, sir. Thank you very much. Are they slapping or are they slapping the trigger? That's the one we want to look at first. If you're looking at a diagonal rip in the paper, it is very easy to look at what's happening to the gun when you are shooting low and left. A lot of times the trigger press is not a trigger press, it's a trigger pull, and it's going to affect a lot of accuracy issues that you have. If you're looking at the target itself and you're seeing a lot of low shots, maybe not low left yet, but low, it really has to do with a couple different things. One of it is having the gun up in your line of sight and not looking over the pistol. I think that's a very common thing that people do, is they don't bring the gun up into their line of sight. They take their head and dip it down and bring it to the sights themselves. And that really causes a low shot because you're not bringing the gun to your line of sight. You're bringing your eyes to the gun, which is hard to duplicate on a regular basis. The real quick fix of this is to make sure the gun's up in your line of sight itself. Make sure that you've got the gun over your dominant eye and you are slowly engaging that trigger to the back of your hand and not pulling the crap out of it. I think anticipation is one of the biggest issues most people have, because when they anticipate, they're jerking or pulling the trigger and causing a lot of problems. There are 14 people on the call this evening so far. Thank you very much for being here. Now, listen, if you're on there, it's very easy to look over there and make a comment. Thomas Dodd, thank you. Appreciate you being here, buddy. You're not late, my friend. You're not late. Anytime you're on the call, that's important for us. So we appreciate you being here, Tom. Late is when it's over. You can show up at any time, my friend. So what you want to do really to really think about is let your Jessica Brown, thank you very much. I'm from New Jersey. I appreciate you being here, Jessica. Thank you very much, honey. Appreciate it. I was actually going to call one of my daughters, Jessica. I didn't have one. I have Johnny and Jacob. I had two boys, and that was what we wanted, me and Heidi. But we had a girl's name picked out each time, and Jessica was going to be the name. Jessica Lynn is who I was going to have, but I never got a girl. And I'm glad I didn't, because these boys got me wrapped around their finger to begin with. I can't imagine what a little girl would do. All right, so that's the first one. Are they slapping the trigger? This is something that I look at when I'm looking at the targets, and I see their targets, and I can see what's going on. Number two, when I look at their targets, I want to know, what are they doing? Are they over gripping? Are they over gripping with the firing hand? We talked about this a lot, but you got to understand, we only have 2 points of contact on the pistol itself, and neither one of us can give 100%. The right hand, I'm right-handed, I'm right-eye dominant, and the gun's on my right side. This hand here, there's really, if you really think about it, how many fingers are holding on to the pistol at any time? You can't count your thumbs and you can't count your trigger finger. So you've got 3 fingers on your dominant hand and 4 fingers on your non-dominant hand. And if you play that cycle out, you always know your non-dominant hand is going to be controlling the weapon, and your dominant hand is holding on to the weapon. So when we want to look at this thing, we want to be very careful that we're not over torquing with our dominant hand. Over torquing with our dominant hand causes a left shot on a regular basis. It's very common to see this happen because people tend to thumb crush. That's where they dip their thumb down and put their hand over top of the gun itself, and that causes a lot of issues. We always want to work on that 2 thumbs forward you don't know what this is, guys, there's plenty of playlists on my YouTube channel, John the Firearms Instructor on YouTube. There's 44,000 subscribers right now. Thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because there's a lot of playlists there that'll make you a better shooter on a regular basis. All right. So what can we do? We need to get a 60-40 grip. We need to get the thumbs pushed forward. We need to lock out that wrist, and we need to really support the pressure on. Most of your power is going to come from your non-dominant hand. What will happen is if you're doing a strong hand crush grip, you're going to get muzzle lift. You're going to get an unstable pistol. The quick fix is a 60-40 or 70-30 or whatever you want to do. Just make sure you're over grabbing with your non-dominant hand and under grabbing with your dominant hand, and you'll find that the shots will equal out themselves pretty quickly. Number 3, the supporting hand actually is doing anything. If you got gaps or low placement of the thumbs, your thumbs are locked towards, these are all things that people do. So you got your strong hand and your support hand. Your support hand is your non-dominant hand. This is the power we talked about, right? We need to make sure it's doing something. And when you're blocking the all your power coming from this hand by locking it out on the gun, it changes so much. We need to make sure. Now, if you haven't seen my grip video, when I did the slow motion on the firearms, it really, really showed how much movement we were getting with the firearms, especially in the slow motion filming. I love that because it really showed how much true manipulation was coming from the firearm due to the fact that we weren't controlling the firearm. I actually undergripped. I didn't get high on the tang. I kept below the trigger well. I really, really cranked on the trigger a lot. I did the total what you're not supposed to do, and we slowed it way, way down. And man, I tell you, it's amazing how much the thumb crush caused a lot of issues. But the one that was really surprising to me was I did 2 thumbs forward, but I gapped a lot. I gapped on between the 2 thumbs, I gapped. And I gapped at the high on the trigger well. And you should see the slow motion on that. The gun even feels like it's falling out of my hands during that shot. And then the final one, I did it exactly the way you're supposed to do it and watch that gun stay level during those 5 shots. It was just a smooth, level pistol the whole time. And once you start identifying these little bit of challenges you have to control the weapon, it truly changes an awful lot. And you start getting those, what we consider the aha moments, when you go to yourself, that makes sense to me now. That feels, if you are at the range, you should be able to feel a good shot's a good shot and a bad shot's a bad shot. There should be no questions asked. When you have a good shot, it should feel like a good shot. And a bad shot should feel bad. There's no question there. So make sure you really don't have any kind of gapping in space on the firearm itself. Make sure you're good, solid grip, and make sure those thumbs are pointing towards the target. Make sure your belly button is pointing towards the target, and you're indexing with that trigger finger and the thumbs, and you'll get a better control over the weapon. Number 4, are they breaking their wrist down? And this is common for people to shoot and then let the gun dip. Let the gun dip. And if the wrists are breaking during the shot, it's clear sign of anticipation. And that is that monster that goes into everybody What's happening, guys, is your body, your mind is trying to help you control that pistol by pushing down on the firearm right before the weapon cuts. And that causes a low drift or a low push down, which that causes a lot of low shots. And then if you have the improper grip, low and left begin to start to sneak in on us. I think it's important that you understand what causes low and left more than anything else. It's not one thing, it's a mixture of a few little things. It has to do with how much trigger finger you put in the gun. It has to do with the grip you're putting on the weapon. It has to do with front sight focus. It has to do with a lot of different things that doing one of them is going to cause it. Doing all of them is going to cause it. We need to solve each and individual one due to the fact that we don't have control over the pistol the whole time, because internally we're either tightening our grip or loosening our grip or doing something that's causing inconsistencies when you're shooting a pistol. And this is when you're at the range and you get the one shot here and two shots there and the third shot down and one shot in the middle. And you go, what the heck was that? Why did that happen? And then you do it over again and you get a different effect. Then you do it the third time, you get a different effect because you're just not putting it all together. And then when you find it in a system like the handgun training system masterclass, and when you put each individual point, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that very much. There are 17 of you on there tonight. Make sure everyone makes a comment. I want to say hello to everybody. You get an opportunity. Say hello, please. It doesn't matter. Just a little hello or a thumbs up. Let us know who you are and where you're from, especially if you're new. If you're new tonight, if you're one of our HTS guys, or if you're one of the people that have been into seeing the live before, please comment below. We appreciate that very much. It helps me understand who I'm reaching for and who I'm touching. Breaking your wrist or locking your wrist, not locking your wrist properly. 19 of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thomas Dodds, Pennsylvania, PA. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you being here, buddy. So inconsistency, downward pattern. This is one of those things that causes an awful lot of people. There's a quick drill, and I'm doing the newest YouTube video today, and it's a drill we brought out, which is called the pause drill, and it's basically we're doing one-shot drills, but we're pausing 1 to 3 seconds in between each shot. Dale Stacy, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being here this evening. Thank you. Appreciate Dale. Where you out of, buddy? Where are you from? Tell us that, please, if you don't mind. But yeah, the pause break drill is a good drill because what it does, it's your mind wants to rush through the shots. I think this is one of the biggest challenges that most students do is internally your mind is telling you, yeah, let's get over with this thing. Let's shoot these. And I'll be honest with you, when I shot this, I did the whole video. I did everything. And when I went to go throw that target up today and to show you guys, you know what I did? I shot that target fast. I had to go back, moved to Minnesota from Oklahoma last summer. Whew, that's a sideways move there. Oklahoma's probably pretty nice. I'm not sure about Minnesota. They got a little bit of craziness going on there, but I appreciate you being here, Dale. Thank you. We're at Minnesota, my friend. All right. Number 5, I see most of the problems. Hello, Big Verdi 04. Hello, checking in from Georgia. Thank you, Georgia. Where at in Georgia? Let me know. I've deer hunting in Valdosta. I ride the line there. I've done all that. Not close to the family. That's important, my friend. Close to the family is most important, my friend. That makes all the sense in the world, Dale. Say no more, my friend. Probably got some grandchildren and everything else like that. So that's probably pretty good to do this, especially family's so important nowadays. I lost my mom and dad many years ago. All my brothers are all up north, and the holidays are really. And I have my wife and my kids, but it's never been the same since mom and dad have gone. And I tell you, it's if you still have your parents and they're still around, every holiday that comes around, you make sure you hug their neck deep and solid, because at the end, when they're gone, buddy, Gainesville, Georgia, thank you. When they're gone, you're gonna miss them. You're gonna miss them deep, and it's the holiday times when it happens. Be honest with you. My wife's mom and dad are still, stepmom and mom are still around. We got them, but we surely my mom and dad are gone, so it's tough. But the holidays are always been a tough one for me. I like to get through this, get out of it, and get into the 2026. Hopefully, it's a better year for us, economy-wise as well. Number 5, is their finger too deep in the trigger? I think this is one of those things. There is a video on my YouTube channel called Trigger Drift. And trigger drift is different than trigger pull or placement. Trigger drift is how much the finger goes into the gun in this direction. And what tends to happen with people is you start out with it being where it needs to be. You almost want to think about, you want to be engaging the trigger into the back of your hand like this, right? What ends up happening is when you do your first trigger press and you got it pretty good, the shot goes where it needs to be, and your second trigger press is right where it needs to be. And then all of a sudden you start dipping your finger in, and then you start dipping even more, and then all of a sudden you're pulling it left because you got trigger drift. And this is kind of one of those things that you got to start to visualize. And there's so many little things we got to visualize, and one of them can cause everything. But this piece of skin right here, this needs to not touch the gun, because the moment this piece, John Diamond, my dad passed in September the 7th. Mom passed 15 years ago. Sorry to hear about your dad, man, and your mom. But 15 years ago is tough, still in your brain, but September's real close. So, well, John, they're in a better place, my friend, and they're together now. So that's important. That's the one thing I can tell you. My mother and father were very religious people, and they almost made us kids. We were at church 5 times a week. We were just inundated with all that stuff. And not that I don't believe in all that stuff. I believe in God and all that stuff. But when Dad died, I was always going out to the place, and I would go visit him, even though, I believed he went to heaven and all that stuff like that. And it's just a skin there. He's not him. His soul is where he wants to be. So I used to go out and I'd sit there and just talk to him a little bit. When Mom died and we put her in the ground next to Daddy, I never went back, because I figured, you know what? They're together. Dad's not alone anymore. And Mom wasn't alone. She had us. And I thought Dad was all out there by himself. So I went out there. It was a little ways out. Memorial Gardens, it wasn't real close, but I'd go out after a while. And then when Mom passed, I just never went back. I thought, you know what? They're together. That's what is meant to be. And I just felt like, it's there now. They're together. They're side by side, and that's where they'll be. And it just put me in a position. I never thought I had to go back because I thought it was part of the. Maybe wrong. Maybe once in a while I'll maybe shoot out there, but I haven't been out there in a couple of years. Maybe 3 or 4. To be honest with you. Interesting. All right, so putting too deep in the finger. So we need to be careful that we don't put our finger too deep in the gun, but we don't want to have it too little in the gun. We need to have it just perfect to put the trigger in slowly into the back. Past your pad, like here in your crease, you want to stay out of that crease as much as possible. Move the pad or your first joint to almost somewhere in the middle here. It's going to make you a better shooter. So you guys that are in the HTS system taking these drills to the store and practicing them, pay attention to how quick or fast you're pulling the trigger versus pressing the trigger. One of the things about any training class you do is we need to get the most out of as little rounds as possible. When we do a training class in the store, we are shooting 5 rounds at a time, and we're making sure that all 5 rounds count. And this is one of the things I see as a real challenge for students is they get carried away on trying to put as many rounds downrange than accuracy, if that makes sense. And what causes a lot of this stuff is us getting overexcited or rushing the shots during each one. So just try to use the tip of your finger as much as possible. Number 6 is they're not doing any kind of trigger prep. And trigger prep is really non-existent for these students. Thank you, John. So what I would tell you, the trigger prep itself, if you kind of look at it like this way, and right here is touching the trigger, and right here is bang, and there's travel between the two, if that makes sense. Now we need to get this trigger back to a position right before the gun goes bang, wherever that is, right? There's a wall. Triggers are called, there's trigger, there's the wall, and then right before it goes further back, then you can adjust your sights to make sure they're solid, and then finish the shot. Let the gun go bang, keep the trigger back onto the back wall of the weapon, and then allow the trigger to come forward just enough to hear the click. This is called reset. And then we can bring the trigger back, and we got a lower or a shorter trigger travel than when we trying to pull the whole trigger all the way back. And this is one of the challenges. This is the people who are rushing these shots. They're not having a trigger prep at all. They're bringing it back and ranking on it. Rank, pull, pull, pull. And that's going to cause a lot of trigger pressure like that causes sight picture alignment and sight post to jump or bounce. We need to bring the trigger back as slow as we can. So I gave you a cadence. John Diamond says, that's what I did last time I was at the range. 5 and 5 3 times. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to do it. That kind of gives you. Now, one of the tricks you can do, guys, this is one of the things we're teaching the new group that came through, is we need to identify every shot we fire. This is why we stick to 5 rounds at a time. And I would recommend you get some kind of marker system of something. Get some red marker, blue marker, green marker. You can go to dollar store, pick them up. You can go anywhere. You don't need fancy markers. You don't need fancy markers. You just need something that's going to identify the 5 shots from the next 5 shots, from the next 5 shots to the next 5 shots. So, and what ends up happening is every 5 shots, you bring the target in, identify your 5 shots, circle them, mark them, whatever you want to do. I've seen guys just use a black magic marker, put a square around them, put a circle around them, put an X through them, put a diamond around them if you want to just do one color. I think that multiple colors works out better. What happens, though, is you're going to start seeing a pattern. And what tends to happen is it's either the first shot is rushed or the last shot is rushed. In other words, you're getting fatigued and you let the last drop pull down. But if you start marking your shots, then you can see the pattern. Then you can start adjusting. Let's say, for instance, you are that rush the first shot. Internally, your body's telling you, come on, let's get going, run fast. And then bang, you first that. So now all your shots, that first shot is pulled really bad, or it's low or left, or it's whatever. And then the next 4 are right where they need to be. Well, then we know we need to take our time and really concentrate on getting that trigger prep down to a science, that we're not rushing that first shot. Vice versa. Let's say we get our first shots good, our second shots good, our third shot's coming off just a little bit, our fourth shot's getting a little squirrely, and our fifth shot is down, then that just tells you you're losing your power or your strength or your grip during the shots. And then when you start identifying this stuff, all of a sudden you go, ooh, I see what I'm doing here. And then you just slow down, and it makes so much difference for you when you are doing it exactly that way each time. Because when you start shooting 5 rounds at a time, and remember, it's most important that the 5 shots go where you want them to. This is one of those things that we have to say to ourselves, can I hit what I'm aiming at, or do I have to adjust the gun? You know, I got a guy that was at the range the other day, said, I always shoot low and left, so I shoot high and right, and I'm right where I need to be every time. He's not wrong, but the one time that he does that high and right and does everything perfect, well, that's where the bullet's going to go. It's not going to go where he wants it to, but he's responsible for that bullet until it's ground. People come in the range all the time. There's something wrong with his pistol. It's shooting low and left. I said, it's not the pistol, it's you. Oh, I know how to shoot. It's not me. It's not me. How come I can shoot this gun and I shoot it perfectly, and this gun and this gun I shoot low and left? Well, let's go back and take a look at it. And I watch it and put too much finger in the gun. They're not controlling the weapon. It doesn't fit their hand right. They're doing something wrong. And then they go, see, it's not me. And then I go, okay. And then I grab the gun and shoot it, and it shoots fine without adjusting anything. So it's kind of important that we put all the stuff together for us so we get that aha moment we want, and we can become more accurate with the pistol. All right. So prepping the trigger is one of those things. It's a quick fix. It's very easy to do. You don't need any mechanical things or anything else like that. One of the easiest ones I'll give you, and this is a great thing, and if you get to the range and you're having a little bit of anticipation, kind of work on the press drill, PRESS. Bring the trigger back as slow as you can through that cadence of the spell of press. You're bringing the trigger back as you spell press, PRESS. And at that last S, when it cuts, that shot should surprise you because you're just applying pressure till the weapon goes bang. It makes a big difference than pulling a trigger back hard all the way and slamming it forward. Real difference between pressing the trigger and pulling the trigger. What we're trying to do is figure out exactly how much pressure we need to put on the trigger for the weapon to go bang. Yeah, that's a good one. That ink pen drill, if you haven't had an opportunity to pen drill, it's on my YouTube channel. That's a great, great drill because it actually shows you when you put too much finger in the gun, what's happening to that pen because it wiggles and wobbles and does everything. That's a good one. It's on our YouTube channel. It's a great, great video for you to watch. Number 7, guys. Number 7 is, are they looking for their hits instead of tracking their sights? And this is imperative that we stay in control of the weapon and we have a good, positive follow through. How many of you guys are prairie dogging every time you shoot the pistol? Bang, bang. And you look up over the gun, how is that going to help you with follow through? If you have to look over the pistol every time you shoot the pistol, every time you engage the trigger, you got to look over the pistol to see where your bullets are impacting. Well, there's a problem there. You don't trust your sight system. You're doing something wrong there. We should not have to look over the pistol, because if you're looking over the pistol, then you're shooting below your line of sight because you're pulling, jerking, or doing something crazy. The gun in your line of sight should not impact below your line of sight. It should impact in your line of sight. And this is a great, great aha moment for you because on my YouTube channel, there is a line drill. I've shown you the vertical line drill, but there's a horizontal line drill, which is a great test to see what you're actually doing with the firearm. This is a black piece of electric tape that's in your line of sight. And then you take your weapon and you aim at that black line. If your bullets impact the line or a little bit above the line, or you break the line, break the tape line, then you are impacting where you are aiming. This is a big eye-opening moment for most students because they don't even realize they're manipulating the pistol so much. This line drill really, really is challenging. You could shoot it all day. Well, 50 rounds, don't shoot all day. That doesn't help at all. But you could shoot this drill and really get yourself in a position where you say, wow, I didn't realize why my bullets impact low all the time is because I am pulling the gun low. I'm aiming the gun low. I'm doing some manipulation that's causing me to hit below the line. Here's the magic thing about that. When you start impacting the line, that's going to stop the head dripping. That's going to do a lot of different stuff. Now, it truly helps us when we use our waist to aim the pistol versus our wrist to aim the pistol. You start aiming the pistol with your wrist, you're already in some crazy thing that's not going to go well for us. You're going to shoot low all the time. We need to drive that pistol, gentlemen, with our chest muscles, keep the weapon level, and bring the gun up into your line of sight. Impact that line or hit above the line, you're doing pretty good. Hit below the line, you're pulling the trigger. You're doing some trigger manipulation, or you're doing something, dipping your head or anything else. Like, want to challenge yourself? I'm going to tell you, this line drill is probably one of the biggest challenges you can give yourself. And it's pretty easy to do. You don't need a black magic marker. You just need a magic marker. I don't want you to get too carried away. Use any kind of tape you can. Obviously, we want to be an inch tape, maybe black magic electric tape. You could do double lines of that. Just make sure when you put the target up that it's in your line of sight, because that's where the bullet needs to be. That's where the weapon needs to be, in your line of sight. Not looking over the pistol. You got to be looking through the pistol. Remember, when we talk about front sight focus, what are we using? We're using our front sight. Everything else, the black line, dot, the X, whatever you got out there, it needs to be blurry, and your back post needs to be blurry. So if you got a Glock, it's a box. If you got a Smith & Wesson, it's 2 dots. Those 2 dots need to be there, but they're not going to be our primary focus. Our primary focus on front sight focus is our front sight. And that's got to be crystal clear, locked down. You start shooting front sight focus on a regular basis, your accuracy goes from this to this overnight, quickly, like that. Because now you're not worried about everything else. You're only worried about one thing: keeping the gun level, pressing the trigger, right? Those two, they have to be there, and front sight focus. And this is one of those drills that when you do it, you start getting it. It is a finished drill for you. It is a beginning drill for you. Phenomenal. Watch that video. You'll love it. So if you are lifting your head, the muzzle will dip. If you quick fix is the front sight freeze. We cut that shot. We want to focus on that front sight and make sure there's no bobble and no movement to allow us to cut the next shot. If the gun dips and we got to bring it back up into our line of sight to cut the next one, and it dips and we cut we're never going to be on the same line each time. We're going to be offline each time a little bit, right? But if we're driving, cutting, and clean trigger press, we're going to be just where we need to be. And then that front sight focus needs to be tight and strong. You're going to be a better shooter. I promise you that. Number 8, how are they standing? Are they standing with 2 feet shoulder width apart, bouncing on their knees, a little bit of booty out, leaning forward? Absolutely not. Most people aren't. They got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, like they're pushing a goddamn car. You're not pushing a car. You're driving a weapon. When you got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and you're pushing like that, you're putting yourself in a real bad torquey situation that's not going to work for us. Again, you think about it, if we tried to push a car today, we're not going to push a car with 2 feet side by side. When you're not going to get enough torque that way. But when you push a car with 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, now you're pushing the car. What do you think you're doing to the gun? You're pushing the gun. And that's what causes the left. That's what causes the low. What you want to do is a positive athletic stance. That's 2 feet, shoulder width apart, bouncing on your knees. Don't lock your knees. And transfer your weight from your back of your heels to your toes. And when you transfer your weight to your toes, you're going to be more balanced that way. You're going to be able to suck up some of the recoil that's happening when the gun goes bang. When you're standing with solid feet flat on the floor and you take a recoil or a punch or a push, you're going to roll backwards because you're not able to soak up any of the pressure that's coming. So here's what I'll give you. And this is one of the good things we tell all students here. I want you to get your feet shoulder width apart. I want you to bounce on your knees. I want you to think about athletic stance. But one of the things I want to do is I want to make sure you're transferring your weight to your toes. And here's the easiest way to do this. Is to lift your heels just enough that you feel the transfer of the weight to the toes, but you're lifting your heels so they're not on the ground, but you're not lifting your heels far enough that you're going to fall forward, in other words. It's an equal balance, equal step stance thing, and it makes so much difference. But if you're leaning back or you're sway backing, or I see this all the time. You got your butt out, your back in, and your shoulders are out, right? And this is very common. No offense, ladies, but you're kind of afraid of that casing coming out and getting you. So when you shoot, you're kind of like, you're doing all this crazy stuff. If you drive the weapon properly, no rounds should come out of that gun and hit you in the forehead. If you are getting impacted by the casings of your pistol, you're breaking your wrist during the shots, and that's causing a lot of stuff. And that's most likely for ladies. It's most likely because you're not driving the gun with your back muscles. You've been told to hold on to the pistol and you're trying to grip it here. And that's not going to work for us. We don't want to grip it there. We want to control it in a point of complete control. So if you remember to push and pull, ladies, you're going to control that weapon a lot better, and you're going to have more control, and you're going to be more confident because of lack of muzzle flip. A lot of women and seniors tend to overgrip, then undergrip, then overgrip, then undergrip, then overgrip during each shot, which is going to cause craziness going on. Only 5 shots are being fired, guys. So you really don't have to worry about over torquing or under torque. It's only 5 shots. It's only 9mm. It's only 22 or whatever you're going to shoot, guys. You got to be able to control those 5 shots. I understand if you get 15 rounds in the gun, everyone loses their power. Even me, everyone loses their power once you put too many rounds in the gun. But you shouldn't have to open and close your grip 4 or 5 times for 5 rounds. If you're doing that, you're opening and closing your hands, we need to work on some kind of control that's going to allow you to grip that pistol. And what that is for ladies is pushing and pulling. Push out your dominant hand and pull back your non-dominant hand, which causes your back muscles to kick in and lean forward, ladies, and you're going to be able to control the weapon better than a man control the weapon, to be honest with you. Now, men, all you do is drive the pistol. Now, a lot of you guys grab the gun in this way and squeeze really hard with both hands, and you're using your biceps and your triceps to control the pistol. We don't want to do that. We want to use our chest muscles, our pecs, and then we squeeze our hands together. This is a very easy thing to feel, guys. Put your hands out in front of you. Bring your hands together and squeeze your hands together as tight as you can, almost to the point where you feel like you're about to shake a little bit. You'll feel your pecs kick in, and that'll allow you to control the weapon tremendously better than any other grip you're going to have on the firearm. So recoil pushes, then the shot will walk low or it does some crazy stuff. Quick fix is nose over toes, forward. You got to make sure you're comfortable and feel that gun when it goes off, that you're sucking up the recoil. It's going to make a big difference. No lean backs. No lean backs. So one of the things that happens to most students too is when they bring that trigger back, they're bringing it back so hard that they're trying to like pin it to the ground or pin it to the back side of the gun. The gun's going to cut. You just need to apply pressure. That's all you got to do. Just a slow, continuous pressure. It's a smooth press and a controlled reset. It's not one of these things where you got to slam it backwards or slam it forward. We keep going back to trigger because it's such the thing. That's the one thing. I think if I took 20 students and I just worked on giving them like week 2 for you guys that are in the HTS system, week 2 is all about trigger prep, trigger control. And it's going to make a big difference and when you get the aha moment on that thing. It truly makes a difference. The challenge is we're aggressively trying to engage the trigger. Well, you can't imagine if you aggressively doing anything and trying to be accurate, those two don't match up too well, right? We have to kind of bring the trigger back slow keep the weapon level, try not to get too carried away, try to get into a rhythm or system that's going to work. Because the only way to shoot faster is to engage the trigger fast. But engaging the trigger fast and pulling the trigger are two different things, if that makes sense. And there is a fine line about how fast we can engage the trigger and keep the weapon level. And yes, there is a way of doing it, but at a certain point, because it's very hard to manipulate your trigger finger without the rest of your hand not moving. And if we're trying to isolate a trigger finger and not have anything else move, it almost becomes second nature to us once we start getting how to do it properly. And it's more about not about speed first, it's about getting the trigger pressed down to allow the reset to kick in for us to cut the shots faster and faster and faster. And that's just timing at that point in time. I don't expect you to shoot a 3-inch circle and become super, super, super fast at shooting 3-inch circles. But if we take the 3-inch circles and we bring it to 6-inch circles or 8-inch circles, we should be able to shoot as fast as we want to shoot and still impact the target pretty well. That's why we use 8-inch paper plates at the range. That's why we use 6-inch paper plates at the range. That's why we use 3-inch little orange targets. That's why we use the 2-inch circles like that. Because at distances that are different, our target size can go up. Now, do I need to shoot super, super, super accurate as a defensive shooter? And the answer is no. We just need to be able to be confident that if I put the 8-inch paper plate out from point blank all the way out to whatever distance you plan to practice at, you should be able to hit the paper plate, not at the bottom of the paper plate, in the center of the plate, but be able to call your shots and hit your shots. That's what the line drill we talked about a little bit ago. That helps you call your shots. That helps you understand what you're doing. Here's the thing, guys. Everything I'm teaching you, everything we're talking about is stuff that you need to learn and realize that most of the stuff that's causing you to be inaccurate and you looking at the pistol trying to figure out what's wrong with it, it ain't the pistol, it's you. And trying to get it all down to a consumable product that you can reproduce and build on is one of those things. That's why we put as much as we do through the YouTube channel. That's why we started the school community, to give you guys the education you need. I told you we started this channel many years ago to educate, motivate, entertain. My passion is working with students to get them to become the best shooters they could be. We have students every day. We had students today All right, I'm back. Can you hear me? We had some craziness there. Phil, can you see me? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I here? Hello? 5x5. Thanks, D. Marshall. I appreciate that. I don't know what happened. I can't tell you that. I apologize about that, guys. Very much so. I pulled it up and it did some craziness there, but I don't know what happened there. Another thing that happens to most people, guys, is when they're getting a gun that's too heavy or too big for them. This happens a lot to women. Women are told to hold on to the pistol, but if they're given a gun that will not fit their hands properly, they may not be able to get their finger into the trigger well. They may be too tippy on the tip of the finger. They can't get the whole trigger finger in. These are all things that can happen to make people have a gun. The quick fix of that is make sure you're getting the gun of your choice and not shooting somebody else. So that's what we do at our range. We have firearms that students can use during classes. If they like it, we have the ability to sell them a pistol. We do the try before you buy, which is a great opportunity for students to pick the best pistol they can pick. It gives them a lot of different stuff that makes it simple for them. Okay. So that wraps up the 10 that we have this evening. Tonight's Little Next Diagnosis. If you want to go deeper and get real feedback on your shooting, the next step is to join up into the Handgun Training School Community. It's just going off pretty well. It's like gangbusters right now. I didn't realize I was going to be. What I did was I laid out the program for 100 free training programs. I was going to do 100 of them. And I said, okay, first 100 people to get into the HTS system, they're going to get in for free and they're going to get the course for free. And I thought, this would be a good opportunity for me to kind of play around with school and learn it the best way. Because I was learning just like the students are. It's not very difficult. It's sort of like Facebook. There are DMs, you direct contact with me. You can take your picture of your target, send it in. All of us on the group itself have the ability to see the targets and communicate with each other and just build a solid community around like-minded shooters. And it just seems like a great program, and we're trying to play it out. So we laid out the 8 people. We laid out 100, thinking that was going to be taking me all the way probably January. We're already at 61 or 62 that got into it. I know that some people are getting into it because it's free. It's for me. And we will weed out the people who are not using it, are not getting into the system, and not doing what they're supposed to do to get people who want to be in it. I think what we're going to end up doing is always going to be like my, at the grocery store, it's my pack gum. Basically, we're always going to give this master class away. I think it gives students a little bit more work to do when they come back to the range. I was telling you today, I had a husband and wife in. They shot really, really well. I just let them shoot 2 different pistols. She was phenomenal. He was great. He'd shot before. She never shot before in her life. And I mean, just rock solid. And, she come out of the range and it's not for me. It's not what I want. And that's fine. He loved it. He ended up buying a gun. And all I said to them was, man, I'd hate to see if she really loved it, what she'd have done. I mean, we're talking, she'd never shot a pistol before in her life. And she was putting, just tagging the 3-inch circle with the equalizer. But it's just something it's just not her deal. That's not her deal. And, she took it with stride. She came in, she did everything. Her husband wasn't sure if she was going to like it at all. And by the end, they got it done. And, he bought a pistol today. And she knows how to use it. That was my whole priority. I didn't want the gun in her home if she didn't know how to load it and unload it. But at the end of it, it's not her. It's not her, and that's the one thing. But I know in my feelings, that I know she has the ability to use it at least, and that's the key thing. So that being said, if you want to get into the handgun training system, if you're new and you haven't heard about it, it's in the link in the description down below. When this goes live on YouTube, it'll be there for you to sign up. We have like 40 spots left, and I would surely love to get you into it. That being said, we're here in December already, and it is beautiful here in Florida. Not very cold, but it is getting cold throughout the United States, and I hope you guys all stay warm. I hope everything is good for you this week. If you have any questions or anything else coming up and you want to discuss it with us, we would love to have you. In advance, we're going to have the HTS Monday night courses, Monday night course call on Monday nights at 8 o'clock, and we have the accuracy hour every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. And then we're going to do something in the middle somewhere along the way. We are going to open up a couple of different things that are going to be behind a paywall. That we're going to have the handgun training system drill of the week. That's going to be something that a group of you guys can get into. It's kind of fun, and it challenges you, and we put that together. That's coming up. And that's coming up in the future, as well as if you get the opportunity and want to do one of our one-on-one coachings. Those are more Zoom calls where I see you see me. We look at your targets, we go through all your evaluations, and we build a program and plan that works best for you. I'm putting together a lot of different stuff for this school community. I think it's going to be a great thing. It's like an app. It's like having me in your back pocket when you're at the range. You could take pictures, you could take video, you could share with me, and I can, on the spot, if we had the opportunity, you send it to me, I can give you evaluations right there. And what's that worth? What's that being able to get you at the end of your drills, at the end of your training, to be able to take a few photos and go to your car, and we get on a little thing and say, hey, this is what I did today. What do you think I need to do? And we could give you that evaluation. A lot of that stuff is pretty simple. You're only doing 4 or 5 things wrong. And once we start figuring out what they are, it becomes so much better. Well, I'm John, the firearms instructor, and I specialize in you. If you get an opportunity and you haven't been to our YouTube channel, please make sure you check before you leave today, and make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Sometimes it happens, you get unsubscribed and you didn't do it. Somehow or another it happens. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have an opportunity, hit that bell icon, and every time we upload a video or a live just like this one, you'll be the next to know. God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line defense. We'll see you next week, God willing. Good night. Bye-bye. Love you.